Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So I wanted to continue reading to you some excerpts of my annotations that I took while reading this book that has a lot of facts about ancient Rome. Okay? This one is titled Pompey the Great. Let's begin. Pompey thought he was a great soldier and liked to be compared with Alexander the Great. He was mistaken. He was only a competent general, but he was a great administrator. So here already, we see so many people wanting to be like Alexander the Great. I mean, thousands of years later, his name still lives on. But administrator, huh? There you go. Pompey was given a number of special commands which suited his talents. He cleared the Mediterranean Sea of the scourge of pirates and successfully reorganized the eastern half of the empire, after presiding over the conclusion of a long war in the Middle East, a task in which his predecessor had done the spade work. So the pirates point, I'm going to annotate this as double annotation, because that is one thing I always remembered about Pompey, as dealing with pirates. And Pirates of the Caribbean, just kidding. Imagine you are like on your boat, like how perilous the sea is. You gotta survive the weather. Whales crashing into you. You're gonna tip overboard. You got sharks, jellyfish, all that stuff. A leak, mutiny on your crew. Diseases, getting lost, no wind. And then you gotta worry about pirates. Pirates come along being like, I like what you have. Go take that. So dealing with them must have been brutal. To begin with, he got on well with Julius Caesar and joined the triumvirate on his return to Rome. This was because he wanted resettlement land for his veterans. Notice this too. Here you go. Resettlement land for his veterans. So Pompey, who was a general, he was going to give some land to those who served. Think about how great of a reward that is. It really highlights rewarding men for their sufferings, giving them something to fight for, not just fight because love of country, or we'll pay your college debt. Like, land is like, that's nice, because their children are going to inherit it. Think about that. Which the Senate, with typical short-sightedness, was refusing to grant. Notice this. The Senate in ancient Rome, quite clearly, time and time again, doesn't really care about the people. The Senate and the people of Rome, stamp, like as they're putting on their formal clothes and then stamping all these scrolls and passing legislation. The fact that the Senate, stuffed with food and the nice marble hallways, are not wanting to give veterans their land that was owed to them, really goes to show, did the Republic represent the people, or did the senators represent themselves? Right? Pompey married Caesar's daughter Julia, and until she died in childbirth. Now that's what's crazy too, is Caesar lost his daughter Julia in childbirth. How raw it was back then. He is this powerful person. They got the best doctors probably they could find, doulas, you name it. Still, his daughter dies. It must have been absolutely brutal to suffer the loss of a child. Absolutely heartbreaking. But with her death and that of Crassus, their relationship cooled. Jealous and fearful of Caesar's achievements in Gaul, Pompey began to side with the Senate against his one-time partner and father-in-law. That's one thing that lives on about Pompey and Caesar, is that you like this guy, and he married your daughter, and then he starts to become your enemy. That is like brutal. He would have, and like, your daughter died trying to give him a child, and now he turns around and is against you and goes with the Senate. You always gotta feel real bad for Caesar when it comes to stuff like that, because man, I wouldn't want to suffer that. Now the next paragraph here is Rome's self-publicist supreme. For the most part, Julius Caesar has had a very good press. He doesn't altogether deserve it, however. The fact is that he was guilty of mass murder. Okay, let's see, how dare you. He doesn't qualify as a criminal simply by today's standards. He was seen as such by his contemporaries. Caesar wasn't just a clever politician, he was also a brilliant general. He arranged for long provincial command to follow his consulship and spent 10 years conquering Gaul, roughly today's France and Belgium. So 10 years is quite a long time. It's a decade. And Gaul, I read that on my channel. Do I still have those playlists up? Oh, somewhere. I moved. Oh, here it is. The Gallic Wars. Very, very good. You should read it. But France and Belgium, that's their territory. You can still see some of the ruins. For no very good reason except that he needed money and glory. Ah, come on, a little bit of bias there. For no good reason? Shut up, liberal. Don't be a liberal. Get that money, get that glory. And believe that the hapless Gauls would provide both. He was right. A series of spectacular campaigns added a vast new territory to the Roman Empire and made him phenomenally rich. There you go. For the glory of Rome. There was a downside. By his own estimation, 1 million Gauls lost their lives and another million men, women, and children were sold into slavery. See, so this is interesting because the Romans were white, for the most part, olive-toned, participating in slavery, way before America existed. Good thing to recognize. Maybe so. The people of France and Belgium, they want reparations from the Romans. That's what they want. How dare you, Caesar? To ensure that the right spin was put on events, Caesar published a set of elegant literary masterpieces, in which he gave his account of his campaigns in Gaul, and of his role in the ensuing civil war. The Gallic Wars. Winston Churchill said that history would be kind to him, for he intended to write it himself. In this he was taking a leaf out of the books of that Caesar had written 2,000 years earlier. I mean, we're still talking about it and reading about it today. You just gotta really admire the Gaul. The Gaul of Caesar in Gaul, right? So Pompey, wanting to be Alexander, taking out pirates. Notice something here. Pompey went against the pirates. Caesar went against the Gauls. Coming together. Who's going to win? Pompey, as you know, he lost. Ptolemy, whatever. I don't remember the second, Ptolemy the first, whatever. But Ptolemy nonetheless. Cleopatra's brother? Beheaded Pompey when he went to Egypt. Yep. At least that's what's written. Who knows the truth? Only they know. But Pompey lost his head. There's some statuaries of what Pompey looked like. Who knows how accurate it is. But if you want, you should go check those out. One of the most famous women to die in childbirth was Caesar's daughter. And her death literally shaped history. Isn't that crazy? Her death and the death of her baby, like the whole process of dying in childbirth, caused like a huge Roman civil war because now they were not united by marriage. And that shows you the political function of marriage. To solidify alliances and power and peace. If she would have stayed alive, what would have Rome been like? Something to think about, ain't it? Let me know what some of your thoughts are, and if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/Milahan Archive. Hope to see you there.